Hello, Contrarians listeners. Here we are, back at it. Another preview. The Friends Extravaganza is over. We're moving on to the next chapter of the Contrarians journey through 2022, and ushering us into this next part is a returning filmmaker, uh, filmmaker from our hometown, I guess. Alex, would you call Austin your hometown?
No, but
Me either. But it's the place where we live.
correct.
Yes.
A movie based in the town we both live in, the city.
Yeah, as if it might hit too close home. I don't know. You'll find out when we actually do the episode. But here, we're going to be giving you a few Rotten Tomatoes quotes and a few bits of trivia about Dazed and Confused, Richard Linklater's second movie. Is that right? One of his early works.
That sounds right. But yeah, this is definitely like
before he was the man behind Boyhood.
Yeah, before he was the supernova. Yeah, he had done 2 movies prior to this. It's Impossible to Learn to Plow, reading books, and Slacker, which is the other one that's kind of well known.
We told him the title for the first one's a little too long. The title for the second one, a little too short. Dazed and Confused, perfect.
And then his fourth movie, Before Sunrise, is like, now this guy's getting it.
Well, this is a fresh movie. This is an extremely fresh movie. 92%, I think? 92, 93? It's
definitely has become beloved in the decades since its release, kind of in a perpetual motion.
Yep. There's a good chance they might actually even have a higher score by the time that this episode is released. So keep checking.
I don't know if perpetual motion applies there, so I'll just say in an ascending fashion.
There you go. What happens when it hits 100?
Yeah, I try to sound smart and then sound like an idiot. Those are the worst kinds of people. So one of those analogies will work.
Anyway, let's get into some fresh quotes. We're going to start with Tom Meek from Cambridge Day, who says, "The magnum opus of Linklater's Austin films. But in this slice of life, it's high schoolers moving up and moving on." I was confused because he's making it sound like he has a lot of Austin movies. I know Slacker is based in Austin, and then this one. That's it,
Boyhood.
right? I mean,
Boyhood. There's that scene. He visits his. I think his sister goes to.
Just about
Texas
an hour
State.
of the movie.
At least, maybe 2. Yeah.
Next, Richard Corliss says, "Bet from Time Magazine says, bet it makes you want to dance."
It's got a banger soundtrack. That was one of my bits of trivia that I had. 1/6 of the budget was spent acquiring the rights to the music for this.
Hey, paid off. Okay, so just he's just referencing the soundtrack. I was wondering if I was missing something. Something was going over my head about.
I mean, looking at Parker Posey makes me want to dance, but that's like a different situation.
All right. Blake Davis from KFOR Channel 4 News, Oklahoma City, says, "Maybe the best movie ever made about American teenagers. Casual and funny in a totally unique way." What do you think? Hyperbole?
I'm just like thinking now, fans of American Graffiti are just like, this is blasphemy.
Lots of quotes. I didn't pull any of those, but lots of quotes calling it the 70s American Graffiti.
Really?
No,
I don't.
How about Grease?
At least some of these people look like teenagers in this movie. Sasha Jensen not being one of them. That dude, a film we've covered on the podcast before, starring Sasha Jensen, being Halloween 4, and he looked too old to be a high school student. That movie was made, I think, 5 years before this one. So
a little bit of snark from Alex Sandel from Juicy Cerebellum, who says, "Imagine that 70s show. Now imagine that 70s show if it was actually good." Alex, you're a fan of that 70s show. I am too. What's going on here?
There's absolutely no call to make that parallel, because that 70s show came out 4 years after this movie. Also, that 70s show is awesome up until a certain point. Like most sitcoms of its era, it does get bad after a while, but that's a
Could you
ridiculous
see
thing to say.
Eric Foreman fitting in the world of Dazed and Confused?
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of who's our main character? It's
Chairman London.
Randall Floyd. He's kind of like that in the sense that he doesn't have much going on. You could consider his friend like Hyde a burnout, but he sees more to him than that. So yes, I could see that. Also, completely different tones.
Alex
So
Sandel just has an axe to grind against that 70s show, and
I like the thing is look up his review for like Babe. He's like, picture that 70s show, but only if that 70s show was good.
and now some trivia.
Well, as we mentioned, written and directed by Richard Linklater, released on September 24th of 1993, a budget of just under $7 million, a box office return of $8 million. This is without question a film that, if you went back in time and saw the lack of impact it had upon theatrical release and the lack of business it did from a box office perspective, you would be blown away to see today what it's become, that type of thing. You know, we come across those movies every once in a while that didn't really make much of an impact upon release, but have done a great deal of creating a legacy for themselves. Does not hurt that, you know, one of the most celebrated American actors of modern time made his big splash in this, his first appearance in a big role. Matthew McConaughey's David Wooderson. All right, all right, all right. If you live in Austin as long as Julio and I have, you usually run into that on a weekly basis. If not someone actually saying it, it's used as a piece of marketing somewhere on a billboard or some shit. The whole reason we're doing this, we had an episode gap to fill. My sister will be on the episode with us, and she is a teacher, and she brought us to the table. She brought to the table a few movies about summer break, which she's currently on, and we'll be covering it. But one of the, I think the stop gaps or whatever you want to say, one of the connective tissues in this is that one of the schools this movie was filmed at, she worked at.
Oh,
which is now is Betachek Middle School. I'm not sure what its title would have been at the time of the recording of this, but it's over off. It's kind of like William Cannon and South First. It's over in that area. I have a friend who lives over there, but yeah, she used to work there, and that was kind of always. She's like, "Hey, Dazed and Confused was filmed here." So, the character of Wooderson is based on Matthew McConaughey's older brother. So I'm sure that guy to this day is livid he didn't get that role.
it's also there's a restraining order against him. No, what's it called? Like, when you can't come too close to school.
Restraining order?
It is a restraining order. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
They out you as somebody that goes for high school girls. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, just he's profiled against, and that he's just based on this movie alone. He's not allowed near any theater screening. I don't know, Smurfs or some shit. On Thursday, October 7, 2004, Bobby Wooderson, Andy Slater, and Richard Floyd, former high school classmates of Richard Linklater, sued Universal Studios, saying that Linklater did not get their permission to use their likenesses and surnames. The three men still live in Huntsville, Texas, where, according to the lawsuit, we had fun in high school. The lawsuit was eventually dismissed because the statute of limitations had expired.
My apologies to any listeners we have from Huntsville, Texas, but that sounds like such a Huntsville, Texas thing to say and do.
11 years after the movie came out, to be like, I guess these guys still in 93 thought their lives were going to pan out and be something fantastical, and then it didn't happen, so it's like, it's Linklater's fault.
Yeah, they're like sitting around the barbecue pit or whatever, just pounding Miller Lights. And then one of them goes like, you know what? We should sue that motherfucker.
2004. All right. I need to get the actual. Yeah. So 2004 is when before Sunset came out. So I see him just like you're saying at the bar sitting around the campfire pounding beers, and one of them just flipping through the paper, and it's got like a full page ad for Before Sunset. The infamous hazing scene was shot at the Old Americana Theater, out of operation at the time, located at 2200 Hancock Drive, just off of Burnett Road in Austin, Texas, which is not very far from where I live. It is now a Yarborough ranch it is now the Yarborough branch of the city library, but still remains one of the original exteriors, but still retains, some of the original exterior signs from the movie's era. So that's kind of like the thing of this movie, how much Austin has changed just in the time period Hulu and I have known myself versus 25 years ago. I can't imagine there's too much you could drive around and see anymore from this.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he needs to make a movie set in present day Austin so that 20 years from now, a different generation can look back and complain about how this city is not like that anymore.
Matthew McConaughey's father died early into filming. Production shut down briefly while he helped arrange and attend the funeral. So in a lot, this movie means a lot to him in a lot of different ways. And to this day, his production company, the name is JKL Productions, and it comes from his line in this, "Just keep living." So there you go. I think that's a fitting note to end on.
Well, Alex, I look forward to rewatching this movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, and we're recording this actually before recording the actual episode. So this is gonna be exciting. I feel like it's gonna be a little bit like in Almost Famous, where every song would prompt a story from you. Every scene would bring a memory. So, all right. Well, hopefully you guys are as excited about this episode as we are. It's fresh, like we said, so we're going to be talking about it as if it was a bad movie, a rotten movie in the first part of the show. And then in the second part, we'll tell you how we really feel. You'll find out how I feel about this rewatch. You probably already can tell that Alex loves it. And I really don't know about Lillian, about his sister, how she feels about it. But it should be a lively conversation. So we'll see you there. And then coming up next, we'll go from Alex's nostalgia to my... it's not nostalgia, but we're going to be talking about a Peruvian movie. That's all I'm going to say. Be ready. But thank you for checking out our page, and thank you for checking out the podcast. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.